Welcome to Navigating Now. This is episode 157. This is a Meet the Team series, and I am so honored to be sitting next to Malcolm Branch here, one of our newest senior consultants here at Thoughtium. So let's give a warm welcome to Malcolm. Hello.
Hello, Nicole. Thank
Can,
you for having me.
I'm so excited. I got to tell you, selfishly, this is the episode that I was most excited for
Okay.
because you have so much underneath that I feel like not everybody knows. So I have a list of questions, my friends, to bring forward so we can crack the code on Malcolm Branch here. So let's start off a little soft, right?
Let's start off.
You're from Chicago,
From Chicago.
and then what? Because you've been around the world.
All right, so
Where do
we're
we
gonna
go?
keep this to 30 seconds.
Okay.
No, I was born and raised in Chicago, actually, on the south side. Very proud of that. Went to school in West Loop, so actually about a half mile from our office here in West Loop. And then, yeah, after high school, went to Ohio University for 2 years.
Go Bobcats.
Go Bobcats. But no, I came back to the state of Illinois, went to a small liberal arts school called Millikan. And that actually set me up for a job teaching English in China. And so I took a 6-month contract. At the end of the 6 months, I was planning to come back to Chicago and start my life, but ended up loving that experience so much.
Yeah.
The school offered me another contract, and then 6 months turned to 1 year. 1 year turned to 4 years. And here we are. We are back.
Man.
Yeah.
I want to dissect China, your experience there, but I want to go a little bit before that. You used to live, you said, down the street from here.
Oh, no. I went to school.
You went to school. Okay.
I am not from the west side of Chicago.
Okay.
South side.
For sure.
Sure.
And in honor, you said honored to live in the South side. So you went to school just down the street.
Yeah.
How does it feel to like be in this area again, but in a completely different chapter?
Ooh, that's a really good question. It's funny because I remember growing up over here, like my dad's from the west side, and so we remember coming up as kids, and this was a lot more industrial as a child. And I remember in high school, better. Okay, in high school, I remember we used to we do conditioning drills over here, more or less
basketball.
Yeah, and there was none of this here, and so now coming back, it's all developed. It looks beautiful. The restaurants are thriving.
Yeah.
And coming over here, it's just like night and day. I like hanging out over here at nighttime too when I do get to go out.
Yeah.
But no, it's really cool. I like it a lot.
Comes full circle. Man. Okay. Ooh. All right. Let's go now to China. So it started as 6 months teaching English.
Taught English.
And was this like across the board age wise or?
It changed each year. So the first 6 months, I remember the teachers at the school saying I was very high energy and animated. And so I got put with the kindergartner through 4th grade.
Naturally.
One might think. But no, I think that's where I really had to like tap into like my inner extrovert and like become a different kind of character. But then over the years, there was different needs at the university side. So there was a partnership with Rutgers University. They were building out their business school. And one of the gifts that I happened to have was being an okay writer. And so became an analytical writing instructor, facilitator at Rutgers at their remote campus in China for the latter 2 years.
Wow.
So 4 years in total, 2 years as an ESL teacher, 2 years as a freshman, sophomore college level writing facilitator.
Wow.
So a lot going on.
And that's not the only place you visited in Asia.
No, yeah. We jumped all around. I think for me, one of the things that kind of kept me motivated was just being a part of the unknown.
Yeah.
And like just exploring. So I think in the month 3, I went to Thailand for 3 weeks. My younger sister, Maya, she studied abroad while I was living abroad. And so I think that second year I went to Italy to visit her for a couple of weeks. Then she was in Spain the following year. Ended up in Madagascar. So
did not know that.
Went to a lot of places.
Yeah, man.
But it was a lot of good times.
And you're so cultured. That's something that I initially learned about Malcolm so early on is he knows a lot about the world and you just got to tap into it. And sometimes you don't even know the right questions to ask because someone is so cultured.
A lot of random facts over here.
A lot. So how about, listening, reading, watching, what's going on in your world? Because I see you brought a little something to share with the group.
I did bring a little something. So this is not what I'm reading right now.
Okay.
But I think one of the questions you asked me was an artifact that kind of tells the story of me.
Yes.
So, in case anyone did not know, I love Nike. And so this book is called Xie Guo, which is a translation of Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. And it's the entrepreneurial story of Nike. Anthony and I were just talking before we got on camera here about how every entrepreneur, we have these big dreams and big ideas. But I think what I like about Phil Knight in this book is that he really talks about the struggle of being an entrepreneur and really the resilience and adversity you have to go through in order to find success. I did not read it in Chinese. So the reason why I have this Chinese book in all Mandarin is I'm trying to teach myself how to read. It's been about a 5-6 year journey, and I'm still on page 1. But I will be like Phil Knight and not give up.
There we go.
Adversity. And yeah, it's a humble reminder that even though I know the story of the Shoe Dog, there's still a lot of learning to take place. And I just chose the Mandarin route.
Man.
So yeah.
Learning so much about you. Learning Mandarin. That is fascinating. A little something. Gosh. So you bring up like you have such a growth mentality. You're eager to learn all shapes and sizes of all things. But you're not a true learning and development consultant by trade. So tell us about that. What are you coming in from? What are your gifts that you're bringing to Thoughtium?
Fair question. Yeah. So my background's in education for a couple of years by default, but the last 5 years was actually spent in technology sales. So I worked for a couple CRM companies, ERP companies, but yeah, my professional training has been in sales.
Very cool. So how do you see that translating, and what have you been really getting into here in the thick of it?
Good question. It translates in a lot of ways. There's a lot of transferable skills. Obviously, we're always learning, but at the same time, we're always selling.
Yeah.
And what we've noticed lately, some trends in the market across all industries, is that the modern seller's needs today aren't what they used to be. And so one of the benefits I like to think I have one of the advantages I think I bring to the company is that I've had a good opportunity to learn a lot about myself in terms of the strengths and development areas from working in education and being able to identify and articulate those, but also my experience as a salesman. I think during COVID, we learned that there's a lot of needs of salespeople. And as we're looking to upskill, as we're looking to develop our sales teams, there's a lot of new skills that we're looking at or that we need to develop and tap into. And so being able to have that business acumen of having a sales background, I feel like I'm able to bring a perspective that is valuable here.
Yeah. And it so connects well with Type Coach, which our viewers would hear a little bit about in our a few episodes around preferences, working styles. We all have our own personality. And you're bringing up how important that is to selling because you're influencing someone at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Oh, so much to tap into with Type Coach. Yeah. I'm so excited to get him in the facilitator seat with Type Coach because you already got that mindset for it. It's great.
I hope so. I'm learning.
Yes, you are. Great. Okay. Going back to my list of questions because I have so many. Ooh, what's one thing you wish people asked about you more?
When you briefed me with this, I feel like I had an answer, but I'm going to go with it.
Okay.
I feel like I wish people would ask me what I'm reading more. Reading or listening to via audiobooks, only because I think I need that to keep me accountable to like reading books. And so I was listening to the playback of Azmeen's conversation a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I'm reading, Atomic Habits with my book club. And we just finished it last week. We got a chance to talk about it in the facilitation as well as being able to talk about it with friends.
Yeah.
And I think there's so many good books that I want to read and I want to talk to people about. I feel like our default is a lot of times sports or work, but I'm like, you know what? I think I want to read more.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to make it a more intentional effort to ask people what they're reading.
Yeah.
With the hopes that maybe people will ask me that too. And then I remember to pick up a book.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. And Atomic Habits, you've already provided me a few nuggets from it over like the course of maybe a month you've been kind of reading it. For our viewers who haven't read it, what would you say are some of the big points that resonate with you that others should know?
I appreciate you gave me so much credit of finishing a book in a month. It's been 6 months.
6 months.
And yeah, it was a struggle. But no, it was a really good book. And this is maybe my third time reading it. But this time around, me and the guys were very intentional to not rush it. We said, okay, we're really going to sit with each of these principles, each of these laws, and try to apply it to our real world. And so one of the things I take with me every single day is getting 1% better every day. Because I think a lot of times when we try to change a habit or we're trying to improve in some particular area, we try to boil the ocean with the lighter.
We try to do too much.
Yeah. One thing that Atomic Habits kind of reminded us is to make it easy, make it doable, and also reward yourself for doing it. So getting 1% better is not me trying to lose 100 pounds in a month or 2 months, but is instead making that conscious decision to go to the gym today. And then tomorrow's going to come, but we worry about that tomorrow.
Yeah.
But not trying to overcommit before you have to.
I love it.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited.
A new habit that you've brought into your day-to-day they'd be interested in sharing?
A new habit, I would say is I'll go with reinforcing an old habit. And so I've always had an interest in getting healthy, not necessarily to lose weight, but more so to just create a sustainable lifestyle. And so my recent habit is I wear compression shorts whenever I don't feel like going to the gym.
Interesting.
I'm like, the moment I have that thought that I don't want to go work out, I put on my gym clothes. And whether it be 6 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock at night, I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
Despite me not wanting to. And I think when it comes to discipline and when it comes to just perseverance, like it's a good reminder because now we're 6 months post-surgery. I don't even have to think about whether or not I need to go to rehab or to the gym. It's just like, hey, this is what we have to do, just like we have to go to work.
Wow. It's like a must.
It's a must.
It's a must. So for those who don't know, this poor man tore his Achilles. What, like week 2 or week 3
yeah, I think it was week 2 on the job.
Talk about resilience. I know it's been a buzzword over the past few years, but this man is the epitome of resilience with having a torn Achilles. Can you tell the folks about your Misogi? Let's first say, I guess, let the people know what a Misogi is in your own words, and then what is yours specifically?
Okay, for sure. So from how I understand it to be, Misogi is a challenge that we set on ourselves that it's not something that we do in our day-to-day. It's not something that's easily attainable, but it's something that we have to be intentional about preparing for. It needs to be something that betters ourselves mentally, physically, or spiritually. And something that is attainable, measurable, and I forgot there was a third element too.
Like a SMART goal, like specific,
goal.
Measurable, actionable, relevant, time-bound.
It's a SMART goal. You did.
Thank
Amazing.
you. And you can't die. I remember we got the fun, remember when this was at our retreat as a team, when we all had to come up with our own Misogis, and when we got the definition of what it was, shout out Max with Sand and Salt Escapes, was that one of the premises you can't die doing this activity, but there was risk involved.
There was risk involved. I forgot about the dying part.
Yes.
So my Misogi it's actually me and Norm had a chance to sit down and kind of converse about what I needed it to be. Initially, it was health related. But there's a book called The 12-Hour Walk. And I couldn't tell you exactly about the book because I haven't finished reading it yet, but the podcast that he shared with me was pretty much about mental dexterity and being at peace with yourself without the influence of technology. So for my Misogi, I am taking a 12-hour walk on May 7th of next year up and down Lakeshore Drive.
We have a date.
It is the 12-month anniversary from when I tore my Achilles.
Wow.
So I will be taking a walk from 71st and South Shore Drive at the beginning of Lakeshore Drive, which is also by my parents' house, and walking for 12 hours with no technology up and down Lakeshore Drive, and without talking to people too. So that was the little curveball that Norm challenged me with, was truly unplugging from technology, phone, pictures, my watch. I even thought, I'm like, maybe I'll have people along the way to motivate me.
Yeah.
But the idea behind it is truly to be at peace with yourself and be able to motivate yourself with only yourself.
How humbling.
Very.
Man, I was really excited to be at mile marker 5 for you.
And I remember, I think at the session, you and maybe someone else had said, oh yeah, we're going to come out there and cheer for you. I'm like, no, you can't, unfortunately.
Can't do it. Would love it, but nope, can't do it. Man, okay. So don't tell us what time it's starting. Otherwise, I might want to be there.
You might, and I won't tell you.
Okay.
I will deprive you of that information.
I'm going to lose sleep over it, but let's not make it about me. Okay. Another question for you. So, in the spirit of Halloween, what was something, and maybe this is present day Malcolm, past Malcolm, something that you're afraid of or was afraid of that maybe wasn't the norm?
Bold take. I'm not afraid of a lot of things. And that's not to say that a lot of
Bold
things
and hot take.
hot take, right? It's not that I'm not scared to do things. Like I feel like anxiety is always around.
Sure.
I am terrified of a lot of things. The thing I'm most terrified of is probably something I do the most, which is flying.
Huh.
I hate heights. Not a big fan of heights at all. Don't like planes. I have my routine before I get on the plane as well as when I get on the plane. I hate roller coasters as well. But for some reason, I find myself on a lot of roller coasters and a lot of airplanes.
You're a risk taker. So you kind of like the adrenaline, would you say?
I don't, and as we were coming into this conversation, I was trying to figure out why, like, that's my
Yeah.
fear. And there's something about like overcoming your fears that I'm thinking like, okay, this is going to make me a better person, right?
Yeah.
And so
That's real.
it's
That's real.
right? And so like me hating heights, I have to get on heights in order to get somewhere.
Yeah.
And every single time I still feel anxiety, but I feel a certain level of accomplishment when I get on the plane and I get off the plane. I'm like, hey, I literally accomplished my fears. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I maybe need to pick a bigger fear that's really going to shake me up. But
like
yeah,
skydiving. That would be like,
that's on the bucket list.
Okay.
But I keep on saying I want to do it for my birthday, but my birthday's in January.
Ooh.
And so like I have to go outside the country to
Yeah.
skydive. But yeah, that's on the list.
Okay.
It is up there.
Is there something else that's on your bucket list that's more? So we have the Misogi happening. That's May 7th. We don't know what time. I will be at peace with that. What is something else bucket list wise that you'd be interested in sharing?
I would love to go scuba diving. I am afraid of fish as well.
Interesting.
I think they're pretty.
Yeah.
But I don't like when they touch me. So we talked about like having like the massage with the fish.
Yeah, the pedicure where they Yep.
I like looking at those and I enjoy the sensation of it. But once I see the fish, then it's like, ugh. So when I go snorkeling, it's
that's so visceral.
Yeah, it's so I want to get in the water. I like being in the water. I like looking at the fish, but as soon as one comes within 5 feet of me, I start panicking. Yeah. So I would love to go scuba diving and swim with the dolphins.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
I'd also like to be a fly on the wall, or not really a fly on the wall.
You can be
a fish in the water.
Yeah,
I'll be a jellyfish.
Just float around.
Just kind of watching, hanging out. Very cool. Oh goodness. Let's see. I feel like we could be 30 minutes in and I have no idea. So I guess we'll wrap it up. My last question for you.
Let's do this.
Okay. Fill in the blank here.
Let's fill in the blank.
Probably know this question's coming because we ask everybody, but nonetheless, fill in the blank. If the world were more like Malcolm, it would be
miserable.
Miserable, he said, everybody.
Honestly, when you asked me that question before, I think my problem is that I had too much time to sit on this question. But I think what makes me like thrive is that I appreciate everyone being so different. And so I feel like if everyone was like me, it would be boring. But if it was more like me, maybe we would be just genuinely curious.
Yeah.
Kind of going in with some preconceived notion, which we all do have.
Yeah.
But being like acknowledging our biases, but then still coming to a situation with an open mind. I think one of the things I like most about the work that we do here at Thoughtium is we get to work with so many diverse groups that have thoughts and processes different from what we're used to. And I love learning what those processes are like. What type of cultural backgrounds come with a particular process? What type of roles approach problems differently than others? And so, yeah, I like to think that maybe it will be a more curious world. Yeah. But honestly, I like that there's so much diversity. I like that there's selfish people. I like that there's selfless people because it's nice to juggle those around. Yeah, there's still something to learn from everybody. I love it. So not miserable, just not as entertaining. Oh, I love it. Thank you, Malcolm, so much for being on this episode. It was one I was so looking forward to because as you see, there was a lot to unpack with this man, a lot to learn from him. So thank you all. This was episode 157, Navigating Now, and we look forward to seeing you all next Thursday, 3 p.m. Central /